What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the MG YouTube channel. I haven't been doing as much FSD driving in the Model Y, so we're actually gonna go outdoor dashing, or we're already outdoor dashing. I'm gonna start the FSD so that way I can talk and we can go ahead and go. So press, hold, and then hit the brake, and then we're good to go with FSD. Ooh, there's a curb here. Kind of want to see how it's gonna handle this. I'm gonna let it do what it does for a second, but it shouldn't drive forward off of this curb. I'm just gonna give it a second. It's an object in the path detected. Might have to proceed to take over. I might have to take over on this one. So this is like a really weird scenario with like where the curb's at and everything like that. I'll just take over. But that's why we're doing these, so that way you can see like any type of takeovers that we're doing. I'm gonna go ahead and reactivate. I'm trying to do as minimal, you know, engagements as I can.
Give it a little gas.
Yep, so it's kind of seeing something here. I got to tell it it's okay. It's still not liking it. We're on a bit of a hill too, so okay. Oh, I'm not even engaged.
It won't let you. Try to drive forward while you engage.
Oh, I keep hitting the brake while trying to engage. That was my bad. I was hitting the brake like I was trying to shift into drive.
Now give it a little bit of gas.
So it tells it it's okay. We have a curb right here, so I gotta really make sure that we're gonna go off of it.
Yeah!
There it is.
Oh God, Sheriff.
I want my boy.
I think we bottomed out a little bit. But yeah, that was a really weird one right there, as far as like where we were taking off at, and the curb was like, you know, right there. But yeah, we're doing this so that way you guys can see how FSD is. Definitely one thing that's different about this versus the Cybertruck is long holding, hitting the brake, and then it can just take off on its own. I don't understand why the Cybertruck doesn't have that one yet, and I really would like to push the Tesla team to get that one out, because there's really no reason for that. That's a UI type of software update. It's not necessarily a functionality thing of FSD. Now, you could say, well, the Cybertruck's not currently reversing in FSD. That's fine, whatever. Like, if I try to activate this and the Cybertruck wants to reverse, then it just won't be able to do nothing. But it'll work in any instance where the vehicle has the ability to go forward. And the other thing is too is the Cybertruck does have the capability to go in reverse when doing the parking function. So like when you're in a parking lot. Whereas the Model Y does a little bit better job at like trying to park itself. So one other thing that's there was a new software update. It was 2025.14.9, and it's definitely significantly helped out with the nag on the Model Y. Now the Cybertruck, since we've had it in the Model Y, between the two of those, the Cybertruck has always been much more forgiving on the nag. Like, the nag has not been near as bad, but in the Model Y, it's like pretty sensitive at nagging at you. But with like this, I think it's we have two updates now that reduce the nag. So I'm just gonna kind of look out the window a little bit. We have a sheriff in front of us, but whatever. I'm gonna look out the window a little bit and just see like how long it's gonna take the nag to kick in. So as of right now, you know, we're not getting any audible alarm. I'm looking right out the window.
You got that. Please page.
Okay,
There you go.
there we go. Now we got some red hands and we got an audible alarm. I mean, that was an extremely long amount of time. I can't even believe how much time they're allotting now. That was like, I don't know, 10 seconds of me looking away. Also, like, on the Model Y, if I wanted to do anything, oh, we gotta pause these. It's gonna cancel us. For navigating on the screen here, you literally could not do anything. Now I can, you know, come over here to music, do something. Okay, now I have some visible hands here. But I mean, like, literally, I mean, how bad was it before?
It was so bad.
You couldn't do anything.
I got so many strikes from it.
Yeah, like if I wanted to come in here and just like modify my address and stuff like this, like come in here, click this button, you know, add a stop. Okay, now I have to give it a, you know, look forward. But I mean, that's perfectly fine. If I got to look forward and then I do some more look forward, do some more look forward, do some more, yeah, that's perfectly fine. I'm completely okay with that, and I feel like most people should be okay with that, you know, in the short term. This is starting to feel like much more usable. Like, God, it was very annoying, like having to almost disengage autopilot. I hated this aspect. You had to disengage autopilot just to put an address in, or else you get canceled and get a strike. But look, it looks like it's done now. It looks like that's no longer a thing. It looks like you can actually put in an address and not have to worry about getting a strike now. So another thing that's really cool about that too is that just shows you how much more comfortable Tesla is getting with FSD, because as they reduce snag, they're increasing their liability, right? Because somebody can say, well, oh, I didn't get an alert that I needed to look at the thing, and then I got in a crash, right? So it increases their liability by reducing the nag, and it just shows that they have a lot of confidence that it's not going to wreck, right? And I spend a lot more of my time in the Cybertruck and driving around in the Cybertruck than I do the Model Y. And the Cybertruck is not as good of FSD than the Model Y. So whenever I get into the Model Y, I'm like re-impressed every time, because it is quite a bit better. I mean, it's like not like it's not a ton better, but it's like the smoothness, the way that it takes over. If we're talking about like, you know, a math problem and like 1 + 1 = 2, like they both are almost there together, right? But it's like the Cybertruck comes up with the answer in 10 seconds, whereas the Model Y comes up with the answer in 5 seconds. So it's kind of like a perspective of like that, where there's some things that are kind of quirky that the Cybertruck does, like it clips corners a lot more. Can you see that? I think you can see that. So that sloped median, the Cybertruck has a really bad habit of, like, whenever you're coming from like that direction this way, that you clip that sloped median. And maybe it's because
sometimes it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's bad, but it's a truck. It's like never bad. You know what I mean? It's never gonna cause a wreck. It's never gonna, you know, it just goes up on it quite a bit, you know, and then you feel it when you drop off, because, you know, the truck's very heavy. And that may be because the Cybertruck's sitting higher off the ground, so the perspective of the angle is less, versus like this vehicle being lower to the ground. Maybe its camera can see, and I don't think they're using the bumper cam right now for like FSD. I think they're going to incorporate it at some point in time. I think that's the reason why they added it, because they're planning on at least maybe using it as a backup. So like, say for instance, whenever like a sun glare happens, right? That's one of the complaints about FSD right now. Sun glare happens, okay? Instead of immediately red-handing you, it goes sun glare, bumper cam. Bumper cam says it's okay. Maybe it says like 1 or 2 seconds, and then it re-asks this camera up here, is there still a glare? If it says no, then it goes back to using this camera. Maybe after 3 seconds, if it's using the bumper camera and it still can't see out of this, then it has to go ahead and flag that, you know, to grab the steering wheel. However, most of the time, if I've ever gotten a sun glare, almost always I've been able to immediately re-engage. Like the same way we just shot a video yesterday with a rain puddle. We hit a rain puddle, that causes disengagements. We hit a rain puddle and we did a test. We let it red hand us. We stopped right there wherever the vehicle made us stop, and then we just clicked the button to re-engage, and it just re-engaged. So like literally, if the vehicle just freaked out, came to a stop, it would allow itself to keep going again. Versus like just give me red hands and telling me to take over. Okay, we'll let FSD do its thing. Okay. So we're at our destination.
Just one second.
Okay.
Cute little house.
Hold on, wait till FSD does its thing. Okay, now we stop. Go ahead. Cool. So you got us. You basically got to see us stop, and then FSD stop at the exact right address. Jenna's gonna go over here and drop this off, and then we're gonna start this. By the way, one reason why we like to do the DoorDash thing, and do FSD testing, is because it takes us to places we would never go, and it's like completely unbiased because we have no decision in where our destination is. And just for example, like on our common routes to the gym, to work, or to like take the kids to school, we know all the issues in those common routes, and we know where FSD is going to make mistakes or do something we don't expect for it to do, or not don't expect for it to do. We just know. Okay, she's going to hold. You got to give me a second to, talk to these things. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's like just engaged like a passenger jumping in the car. But yeah, so this just gives us kind of like an unbiased and allows us to experience different FSD things that we wouldn't normally experience in our normal routes. Takes us inside of neighborhoods that we don't normally go inside of. This vehicle does so well at just like hitting the corners and just going. I can't wait till they kind of like correct that in the Cybertruck and have it work better. But I know it's just because they're so focused on getting FSD ready in the, look how I just navigated around those people, seen them there. They're so focused on getting Robotaxi ready that the Cybertruck is basically kind of a bastard vehicle. They don't care about it. They're probably not going to care about it for a long time, because not only are they going to launch it and launch FSD in like Austin, Texas, but they're going to try to launch it all over the country. They're going to try to launch it all over the world. And that's going to be the highest priority over like whether the Cybertruck functions appropriately, as now, however, even though the Cybertruck and the Model Y are working off of slightly different variants of FSD, they're still very similar, right? The main principles behind like what they've been taught on should be the same, right? The only thing that's really different between like the Cybertruck and like another vehicle is the Cybertruck is it's bigger. It's got the biggest thing though is the cameras in different positions. That's going to be your biggest thing, because that affects vision and like how it sees, like its perspective. Like if you think about it, like somebody who's like 5'6", think about their perspective on the world. They're always like looking down on things. Or somebody who, let's go drastic, like somebody who's 8 foot tall, they're like looking down on everybody that they're around. And imagine somebody who's like 5 foot tall. They're having to look up on everybody like all the time. So their perspective of the world is slightly different than each other. And so like that's one thing that's different. So like what you train like maybe the Model Y in, like the way that I'm looking at all these vehicles right here versus like the Cybertruck's a little bit higher. The same way with like when I gave the example of the median, how the Cybertruck gets it. It's because its perspective, it's up higher. So there might have to be a little bit of training that's different between the two models to kind of accommodate for some of those types of things. Now, like when to get over in a lane and let me think, like when to stop for a light, like a lot of those things might be more similar. And they also say the thing end-to-end neural net, but I'm definitively positive that it's not like end-to-end, like it's one model running all the way from like when you hit the start button to when you hit the end button. Why? Because the Cybertruck tries to reverse, but it doesn't go into reverse. So it'll actually pull up sometimes. It'll pull like to the left, like you're about to back in. So whenever it pulls to the left, and then it stops, and then you can see the blue rainbow here. Basically just kind of like it shrinks, and then it becomes like nothing, where you can tell it wants to go in reverse, but the software has like a switch in it basically that says reverse is not allowed. So it's like calling the reverse program, but it's being locked in the software. So that's one of the things when I say like it can't be end to end, because if it's end to end, then you wouldn't have a is this even taking us to the right place? I think this is not.
Looks like it's gonna make us U-turn. Or it's taking us to the
Can you not get there from
hotel
the road back
over there. I don't know. Oh, I think you can't turn it that way anymore.
Oh, interesting. But that means it's kind of not end to end. If you have somewhere in your software where you can turn on and off certain features, then it's not really end to end. I mean, it could kind of be, and then it has to make requests, and then from that manual or from that manual response, which would be AKA a software engineer saying yes, reverse is okay, or no, reverse is not okay. From that manual response, it says, okay, well then now I'm not allowed to do this thing. But neural net wise, I don't know how they would go about programming that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they could, but yeah, the thing to really point out is like the Cybertruck does try to do some of the things like being able to reverse. I think that they have not added reverse to the Cybertruck for liability purposes. I think it's capable of reverse. One, it does fine whenever it comes to doing the park assisted reverse. And one of the reasons why I think that they think it's not ready or they're not allowing it, besides just the size of the vehicle, is the rear wheel steering. So obviously, like, the rear wheel steering changes the path at which the vehicle travels in forward and in reverse, right? And so since that changes the path of the way the vehicle, travels, the relationship between the vehicles will differ, quite a bit in that. Again, they're not going to follow the same path. Also, like wheelbase, wheelbase is a lot wider on the Cybertruck versus like a Model Y. And maybe that's part of the reason why they tried to do the rear wheel steering. They're like, you know what? We can accommodate the Cybertruck having a long wheelbase and make it match mathematically to like the Model Y if it's gonna try to U-turn here.
Yeah,
it's
crazy. U-turn here because you can turn right there, so it's using that as a
oh
path.
My gosh, let's do it. Wow, that's kind of crazy. I mean, there's not a U-turn, U-turn sign there.
That's a path, and you can take that road straight and turn. So it used that. It didn't use this open one,
Yeah, that's weird. It didn't use that one. Probably it's just GPS, because that's exactly where GPS told it to turn.
Yeah, we can take this road here and then take it left.
Well, then it's kind of interesting is FSD it seems like whenever it runs into construction, it then abandons GPS and says, just turn left or right. And I think it's kind of like its generic way of like getting around construction. And then from there, it lets GPS reroute. And then hopefully that new route is avoiding the construction. But if it kept sending it back to the same construction, I think it would just kind of stay in that same loop. Okay, let's see what we got here. We have some like weird construction stuff going on and a vehicle behind us. It did perfect. It waited till it passed all the cones.
Looks like it was one of these red rooms.
You have a room number?
240.
So we're just letting FSD kind of...
It doesn't have a room number.
Oh, it doesn't have a room number, so it doesn't know where to go. So we're just going to kind of see like how it's handling this parking lot too. Okay, we'll take over.
Right side when you drive in, I'll be waiting so you don't have to walk upstairs. Maybe here. 240. No, that maybe not there.
No, it's further over that way. Sit to the right side. We came in on the left.
Oh, okay. $237, $238, $240.
Could be this person here.
Let's go to these stairs.
Why this person?
Name is James.
Oh, yeah, don't play James.
That's good, I guess.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and conclude this video on FSD. Subscribe for more of these types of videos. I'm gonna even still today record more. Maybe I'll record 3, 4, 5, 6 videos, and then they'll come out in like sequential days. But yeah, I just don't want these videos to run on too long. This is 20 minutes deep. Subscribe again if you want to see more content like this. And also put down in the comments below if there's any particular questions that you have about FSD or videos that you'd like to see, or if you just have any other insights about FSD that I haven't yet mentioned like here in this video. So catch you guys in the next one. Peace.